I'm ready for the afternoon session, the last session of the day. Just a couple of notes before we start this session. Firstly, for those of you who are not coming back tomorrow, if you have to leave today and you're not back tomorrow, we've got evaluation forms in front of you. Those evaluation forms are very important to us, so please complete them and give us, share your opinions. So those are only, I'm sure most of you are returning tomorrow, but those of you who can't, please complete them before you go. The dinner, which will take place straight after this session, will be a drinks reception, and then a dinner will take place on the Sky Deck, so that which is an outside venue just in the hotel. So please join us for an extra networking and discussion opportunity at our dinner tonight. And at the end of this session as well, we'll be holding a voting survey. So if you haven't logged on to Automotive Logistics Live yet and you're in the room, please log on during the session, because we will be doing a voting survey. We've got some questions which we'd really like your opinions on. We often find interesting answers, especially when they're anonymous surveys. The things people say in public or when they're speaking from a stage are often different to what they say when it's an anonymous vote. So please join the Logistics Live, and there's a link on how you can join the voting. But that'll be at the end of the session. But for now, we're going to be talking about the opportunities in a multimodal network. We know, the logistics challenges of industry of India. We know how much is transported by road. And we know there is a desire by everyone to move to a multimodal network. But how are we getting on? How's it going? How are we progressing? What needs to be done? What's being done? How can you contribute to make sure the industry moves forward in this direction? That's what we're here to discuss in this final session. And we're very fortunate to have three different kind of sectors. The sort of government entity, you might say, that's looking at multimodal, the major car maker in India, and of course one of the top logistics service providers in India in this session, to make presentations and to share your thoughts and be part of this discussion. And we're very pleased and honoured to have as the first speaker of this session HD Gujarati, the Director of Operations and Business Development for the Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India. Thank you, Mr. Gujarat. Thank
you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk about a dedicated freight corridor. This is most ambitious rail infrastructure project ever taken in this country. My presentation will have two basic segments. One is just a general overview on a dedicated freight corridor for the benefit of the people who have not attended the conference last year, and then giving the update on this major infrastructure project which is being undertaken by us. In this country, railway plays a very, very pivotal role, whether it's the transportation of the man, whether it's the transportation of the material concern. Indian Railway moves close to about 25 million people every day, and they carry about 3 million tons of the originating traffic every day. And in the process, they run close to about 21,000 trains every day in the process. There is a direct correlation between the GDP and the transport requirement. We all know that. In this country, which is still developing, the correlation is close to about 1.2 times. Every 1% growth in the GDP leads to about 1.2% increase in the transport requirement. And railway being a mainly a bulk carrier, plays a very, very dominant role for carriage of different commodities which are required for the industry. Over the year, the development, how to go about it? Yeah, thanks. Thank you for your help. This diagram depicts the Indian railway network. You must have seen a number of conferences. There are 4 metros: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta. I'm talking about the original metro. Now there are more than 4. The sites which connects these metros, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta, and diagonal, we call is the golden quadrilateral. We call it the golden quadrilateral from the railway point of view because majority of the traffic is moving on this corridor. This corridor is barely 16% of the route kilometer, but carries about 52% of the passenger, about close to about 60% of the freight traffic. Phenomenal. And most of the development, whether in terms of the powerhouse, in the manufacturing sector, etc., is taking place along this golden quadrilateral, necessitating the requirement of additional infrastructure for carriage of the traffic, both for passenger as well as the freight segment. Indian Railway gave a thought on this. There were the various options available, whether we go as we do on a demand-based incremental growth in the infrastructure or segregate passenger and freight operation altogether. Considering the importance of the freight segment in this country for development, government took a very, very major decision to segregate the 2 operations and create separate line for carriage of the freights. And that is how the concept of dedicated freight corridor emanated. In the phase 1, we planned 2 corridors, one connecting from Ludhiana in Punjab, going up to Dankuni near Calcutta. This is close to 1856 kilometers long. And another leg of this corridor is from Dadri, which is in NCR close to Delhi, and going up to Jain Port. These 2 corridors has got a distinct feature to play about. Eastern corridor is a predominantly dependent upon the carriage of bulk cargo, that is a coal and coal to thermal power plant, and steel traffic emanating from the eastern side of the country. Whereas the western corridor is predominantly carrying container traffic. We all know sizable volume of the container traffic, EXIM container traffic in the country lands up in the western port of the India, where is the Mundra, Pipavav or Jain Port. Rough estimation says is close to about 55% of the container traffic is being handled on these 3 ports. Further development also has been planned on these ports. Before 2008, we had year-on-year growth in the container traffic close to about 15%. That was big. People thought if this growth is likely to continue, this existing network won't be in a position to carry the cargo. And simultaneously, there was a requirement to reduce the cost of operation. And that's why Western Dedicated Freight Corridor, when it was planned, it went for a higher dimension, which I will be talking about in the next slide. This is a basic design feature, which I have discussed the last time also, but I will be repeating again for the benefit of those people who are joining, who have joined today in this conference. The dimension is more wider, higher, and a longer on this corridor. On a western corridor, the whole corridor will be capable of running double stack container train. When I talk about double stack, that's a high cube container, 9.5 feet. And therefore, the clearance which has been envisaged is the 7.1 meter clearances. On eastern corridor, as I mentioned, it will be predominantly bulk carriage, and therefore, the dimension is a 5.1, is a slightly lesser. For automobile point of view, this western corridor plays a very, very major role because it will be connecting Manesar, Rewari area, Sanand, where a number of auto industry has come up, then linking it to the Jain Port, Mundra and Pipavav for export automobile business. The width of the wagon, rail car has been increased from 3.220 on Indian Railway to 3.660, it again gives an opportunity for us to increase the number of car in each flat. We are trying to increase this dimension to 4 meter so that the sedan car, which normal economical sedan which comes of the length of 4 meter, could be loaded along the width. We are still working on this, and I'm hopeful we will get through so that you can load the car along the width so that in each rail car you can carry minimum 6 to 7 car, and if you go triple deck, so probably the number can go from 18 to 21. It's a huge number increase vis-a-vis what we are doing presently on Indian Railway. Container stack, as I mentioned, western double stack. Train length also we are going to increase from 700 meter to 1.5 kilometer. This infrastructure will be fit to run the train of 1.5 kilometer, and thereafter we can increase in a unit of 700 meter further. Axle load is relevant to the bulky cargo, where the tonnage per rail car needs to be increased. In automobile sector is not required. Automobile sector probably requires more and more volume, which will be taken care of the first two aspects, width and height of the rail car. Speed is going to become another very differential aspect in a DFC. We are going for the 100 kilometer per hour is the maximum speed, but the resultant average speed is likely to be very, very high. Now, the relationship between this organization is an independent organization constituted under the Company Act 1956, has got an arm's length relationship with the Ministry of Railway, and we have signed the concession agreement with the Ministry of Railway. So this particular slide gives us some small feature what we have, which has been mandated to us. On a DFCCL, the train operation and infrastructure maintenance will be done by us. We will have our own station and the control centers. Rolling stock ownership and its maintenance will be by the Indian Railway. There is a provision to go for a multiple operator depending upon the government policy. In the future, more and more operator can be infused into the system. This corridor is something like an expressway, and then we will have arteries which are coming from the Indian Railway and getting connected with us for transfer of the traffic originating from the Indian Railway and terminating on the Indian Railway. We call these arteries as a feeder route. The arteries of the DFC is getting updated by the Indian Railway. They are close to about 5,500 kilometers. In addition to this 3,350 kilometers of the DFC, there will be upgradation of arteries close to about 5,500 kilometers. And one of the major problems which we encounter in the running of the train is the level crossing gate. We have planned complete elimination of the level crossing gate by a grade separator. Either will be ROBs, road over bridge, or road under bridges. Marketing and development of the terminal, it will be jointly undertaken by the Indian Railway and the DFCCIL, and private entity will be encouraged to develop the terminal on the DFCC network. Now, when I talk about the faster, higher, and longer, is significant. Average speed will go up from 26 kilometers at the moment to 70 kilometers per hour. We are aiming at transit time from here to Mumbai in a day, less than 24 hours. Volumetric capacity goes up by about 2.2 times to 2.5 times, depending upon how the rail car is planned. Throughput per train will increase significantly. Double stack container train I have talked about. Ultimately, because it is an automatic signal, it gives me a running of capacity to run 240 trains each way of present Indian Railway configuration. And therefore, huge jump in the transportation capacity. This will be the first time we will be creating more capacity than what is required, planned immediately. Connectivity to major port of the Gujarat and Maharashtra. All the ports will be either directly connected or they will be connected to the feeder road to facilitate traffic movement for export and import. This corridor will be giving a scheduled timetable train, which is not there on the Indian Rail network. We will be giving a timetable train as well as a guaranteed transit time with the provision of penalty if we don't adhere to that. This will help in supply chain management, which is very much essential for the auto sector in long term. Induction of modern technology in maintenance and train operation to bring down the cost. We will be very, very thin and lean organization, and probably our operating and maintenance costs will be close to about 50% than what Indian Railway has got today. There are various advantages to the railway. This will prompt increase in the rail share, increase earning for the railways, improved asset productivity because of the higher speed and schedule time, release capacity on IR. It can be used for the running of the passenger train. For industry and shipper is the faster movement of the goods, guaranteed transit time, value-added services, because people are trying to set up a multimodal logistic park to take care of the end logistics. Reduced unit cost of the transport logistics, that will be the ultimately reaching to customer. These are the certain features, economic growth, not only regional but national. One of the major aspects, because the Paris conference is convention is going on, it's pertinent to mention this DFC is going to save huge carbon emission in the process. An estimate says we will be saving close to about 457 million ton of the carbon dioxide in 30 years of the operation of the DFC. And it will be catalyst for growth of the industry and economy. Using the backbone of the DFC, government has decided to set up the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor and Amritsar-Calcutta Corridor. The work is already on, and they will be using our backbone and we will be using their product for transportation on our network. We expect this process will divert sizable volume of road traffic to rail, will reduce the congestion of the road network, reduction in the accident and resultant fatalities, saving in the precious imported fossil fuel. Now, this particular slide gives at a glance where are we now with respect to the last year. We have given a contract close to about 65% of the civil contract we planned. And for system contract, which is electrification and signaling, we have already given a 48% of the contract. In last 1 year, after we met last time, we have given a contract close to about 17,000 crore rupees. And we intend to give another 14,000 crore rupees worth contract by March. And in the process, we want to complete all our contract process by October 2016. And thereafter, it will be only construction where we need to concentrate and complete the work. Now, this particular diagram depicts where we have given a contract. This particular yellow line indicates the work in progress where the contract has been already given. The green portion, the work to be awarded. And similarly, on a western corridor, yellow portion, work is in a progress where the contract has been given. And balance, blue portion, the work needs to be given to in near future. Considering the constraint on the Indian Railway network, the government decided we will be commissioning the part section wherever the work has been completed. Accordingly, we are planning for the phase commissioning of the DFC. During 2015-16, we will be commissioning about 55 kilometers. Section is all completely ready. We are just waiting for the commissioner railway clearance. Once the clearance is given, we will start the train any day. In 2017-18, a major chunk will start getting operationalized. Close to about 957 kilometers will be commissioned. 2018-19, another 1340 kilometers will be added. And balance section of 485 kilometers will be added in 2019 December. That means we are aiming up to complete this project by 2019 for running a train from Dadri to Jainport and from Ludhiana to Sonnagar. In addition to these two corridors, government has decided to undertake the study for balance part of the Golden Quadrilateral. So accordingly, for 4 corridors, east-west, north-south, east coast, and southern corridor, the study has been completed, And total estimated cost is close to about $66 billion. The study, some of the study has been already submitted to the Government of India for their consideration, and after their approval, we will undertake the work as and when required. And once these projects are undertaken, all legs of the golden quadrilateral, they will be covered up, and which in turn will help the industry to lower down the logistic cost significantly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gujarat, for updating us on the dedicated freight corridor. It's good to see so much progress is being made. It's obviously one of the most important investments in the transportation infrastructure in India. Next up to share their view and to hear from the biggest car maker in India, so an important view, I'd like to welcome to the stage Shailendra Singh, the General Manager of Logistics for Maruti Suzuki.
You enter a cinema hall, first scene. A group of people sitting in a classroom, 50 people, and they are fighting amongst each other. There are people from TCI, TWL, and people all across here, your young people sitting out there, and they are talking about who is our competitor. So there is a group of people who are fighting that for truck people who are operating, for example, trucks, railroad and rails are our competitors. Rail people are saying that truck people are our competitor. There are some people in a smaller group from inland waterways who says our competitors are truck people and the railway people. Railway people are telling, truck people are just floundering all the rules. Actually, the whole business should come to us because we should operate the long haul. While the truck people are saying that's not exactly true. We don't believe in what you are telling. Actually, we are doing the first mile and the last mile, so in between we should be handling everything because we are the fastest. Why rail should be handling all across? And then there are people from coastal areas who say we haven't got the chance at all. Actually, we should be doing it. We are the most efficient. We can handle large cargoes. We can do it faster. We can do it probably cheaper if we get the volumes. And then the rail people say that is exactly not true. We are bringing up DFC and everything, and we can connect one coast to another coast. And it is possible that we can do it. We can go from western coast to the eastern coast faster than anybody else. And then the faculty, comes in. And all of you who would have, you remember from your business school days, they would talk about the competitive strategy from Michael Porter and the 5 forces model. And then they say, the end of the day, that there are forces which are there in the environment, and that is why you are pulling each other. Actually, you have to play amongst each other and find out who is your real competitor. So if we think really, who is the real competitor for a trucker? Or who is the real competitor for rail? And who is the real competitor, for example, for air, coastal or anybody else? Actually, it's not each other. They are not competitors for each other. In my view, railway is not a competitor for road. Road is not a competitor for coastal or, for example, air. Because we are presuming that way because today they are fighting with each other. And therefore, we feel that they are the competitor for each other. Actually, for whole transport or logistics industry, competitor is IT, information technology, Infosys, Cisco, probably Google. Or some organization would come from, for example, say Norway or Finland or a Scandinavian country. Because why do we transport? What is the need of logistics? What is the basic need? To move from place A to place B. If somebody somehow tomorrow comes up and kills that basic need to transport from point A to point B, which is a basic need for transportation and logistics. And it will happen one day. I'm telling you, it will happen one day. My own batchmates from college have married on virtual space one sitting in Tokyo, one sitting in New York on a virtual space in Second Life. And then we all were, participating from all across the world on virtual space, Second Life. So there was a marriage ceremony which required transportation for each one of us to go to one place together, participate, enjoy the marriage ceremony, and that need was killed by information technology. So who is the real competitor? So probably for humans, for human transportation, today it has already come that IT is the competitor for logistics industry. Tomorrow it may happen to the cargo also. Who knows? And therefore today I am going to share few things which will completely change the dynamics of logistics industry. Completely change the dynamics. So what is going to happen? If you look at this slide, probably for the last 3 years, the automobile scenario in India has been almost stagnant. This includes commercial as well as passenger segment, around 3.2 million for the first few months, April to. So that way, if you look at that way, the scale of operations has not been increasing too much. For this year, it has been till now. But however, if you look at in principle, the increase has not been significant. If passenger is doing well, commercial is going down. If commercial is doing well, passenger is going down. So in principle, there has always been certain consequences. And what are these consequences? What should be my production planning? What should be my capacity? And there has been challenges for us also. We were thinking at one point of time whether Gujarat would be a viable option, whether we should really go for 2 million a year or not. Because Hyundai has already created a capacity beyond what they are actually producing. And today Renault, Kwid has come up and they have clocked say 60,000 units in first few weeks of launching Kwid. Is the capacity sufficient, equal or less? So it's a question that needs to be explored, asked and reviewed again and again. And therefore, similarly, we need to ask from logistics suppliers also. And from each one of you who are probably giving services, what should be our infrastructure, logistics infrastructure planning? Should we prepare for 3 million, 3.5 million or 4 million? What is going to happen? If you look here, probably in 2020, it may be 5.5 million at a 8% CAGR itself. It may be 3.6 million also. What needs to be picked up? And therefore, it's a challenge. Would you plan on 3.6 or would you plan on 5.5? And therefore, a basic question comes up. When as a Japanese organization, when I had a few years back my interview, and Nakanishi-san was sitting in front of me, and he asked me a very basic question: what is more important for the organization, for us, profit or total revenues? What is more important? One, choose one. So I asked, I gave the same question, same answer, and got selected also. But that does not mean that it is the right answer. There is the father of knowledge management, Professor Nonaka, at University of Hitotsubashi, he always talks about that for an organization, the only motive is not profit. Only motive is not profit. Sometimes when you create a market share, when you create a top line, probably your bottom line is already taken care of. Look at I had a chance to meet Bansal's, Flipkart and other people just few weeks back, and asked them, your model is not profit making as of now, what are you doing? So they said, it's not necessary to make profit always. Profit will come. We are going ahead with a customer acquisition now. 1 million customer acquisitions every week. More above and above, whatever they are getting now. So probably today that is not their direct, motive. So each organization would have their own perspective. In my view, probably both are important. top line as well as bottom line. But that doesn't mean, what I believe is the right answer. So each organization would need to find out what is important for them, and that is why from the logistics scenario also, we need to think upon what is important for us. Because when we are negotiating with you, when we are talking to you, be it, rail, I interact with, from across the industry, and, when we are talking to, for example, Indian Railways, they are saying, we want some profit out of the business. Some profit. Well, now what does that some profit means? When we are talking people from the, for example, from the coastal areas, who are doing coastal shipping, they say we are not viable at all, at least we should get some profit out of it. When we talk with, for example, yesterday I had a 3-hour negotiation with one of the, large transporter, somebody from who are doing well in truck area, and they were also talking about some profit. At least I should be able to get some profit out of it. Now, what is important? What do you want? You want some profit? You want to create a top line, a large top line. And therefore, we need a new approach, which is a combination of top line and bottom line. And in that paradigm, I would like to bring to your forth the concept of multimodal transportation, because independently you are alone, because you are not competitor for each other. We are not competitor for each other. We are not competing. For example, a car business is not competing with another car maker. A trucker is not competing with railways, and therefore we need to collaborate with each other without assuming that we are competitor for each other, and go ahead with a multimodal concept. But what is the issue? What is the basic issue? Why we are not able to do that actually? Why we are not able to collaborate? Why a coastal shipping person is not able to collaborate with inland shipping? We were the first one who did this trial this year in inland shipping, in inland transportation. We worked out, my team is here, bright people who did this trial, and we were the first one to execute a trial on Ganges, where we transported cars on Ganges in inland waterways. People said it cannot be done. We said, let us do it. Let's see whether it is possible or not. We did it. But then, would inland waterways would be able to carry it across as a full business? No. Because at the end of the day, they need to collaborate with Indian Railways to come up at the Varanasi DFC corridor and bring out a system by which, a large volume of cars could be brought to Varanasi or maybe Allahabad, and then connected with inland waterways, brought to Calcutta, and then from Calcutta somebody from coastal would bring it down to the eastern side of the coast. Who will do it? So competition is not between Indian Railways and transporters, or between coastal and Indian Railways, but between each other. But at the end of the day, we are not able to do it, because what is the competitive advantage for road? Competitive advantage for road is door-to-door transfer. They are the best to go for door-to-door transfer. Even if we are doing with railways, at the end of the day, we are looking for somebody who can really bring it to the door. When we send it across to, for example, we have been sending it across to Calcutta, we are doing some trials there. My colleagues here, they just did a trial last week itself. And at the end of the day, there was nobody who would be really able to pick up from a railway station and then do a door-to-door delivery at, for example, Calcutta. Calcutta is a wonderful city with trams, but you cannot bring large trailers there. You cannot run large trailers there. How to handle that? So road is door-to-door transfer. That is their competitive advantage. Nobody else can do it. Probably train cannot bring it to your door, and coastal can also cannot bring it to door, of course, and not even anybody else, not even air. So finally, road will remain. That is their competitive advantage. Railways have high speed. They can bring it fastest. We have been plying our auto wagons for a few years now, and we see that there has been significant development in this area, and we are able to send our cars fastest by Indian Railways. They have done a wonderful job. And water, we have done trials on inland waterways this year, and we find out that cost is the advantage from the water. It should be, or at least 50-60% cheaper. But that is theoretical. at the end of the day, what is actually happening? The competitive advantage for road is that it should go for, it is very efficient, it can go road to road. But actually what it is doing? It is doing long haul. It wants to do long haul. And because they are doing long haul, therefore they are short of skilled drivers. They would always say, drivers are short, we don't have drivers, we are giving them all the facilities. There are, there are programs to ensure that you don't ply them in night and you do everything, whatever needs to be done as a human. Last time I gave a presentation on this aspect itself. However, still we are short of drivers, and India will be short of drivers. And we have a high turnaround time. My friends here from the truck industry, they say that we are able to ply only once a month to Bangalore. Once a month. What a waste of assets. Railways, fast. We say fast. But actually, end of the day, we do talk about high speeds and the maximum speed is this. And we have got a special certification from Indian Railways that we can ply our trains at 100 kilometers per hour maximum speed, and we have got this certification. We are plying with them. Everything is in place. But our average speed is coming out to be less than 20. My friends from, who are also running probably auto wagons, they are sitting here, and they would attest to this, that actually end of the day the average speed is coming out to be 20 or sometimes less. Are we really getting that speed? The competitive advantage for that particular mode of transportation is lost. And same is true with probably waterways also. We say cost, but actually is the cost coming? So what needs to be done? Therefore, to cut the thing short, probably, I would like to go to the next slide where the basic concept is how we are going to have a seamless integration of all together. And the seamless integration can be, I would like to just share two examples here. Shinkansen model, probably there would be, are there any Japanese here? So you are here. So Shinkansen, it's a generic term, but there are three types of Shinkansen, which runs at 3 speeds. And I would discount my pronunciation on this. They are Nozomi, Kodomo, and probably Hikari. Okay. And all runs at different speeds. And the basic concept is, one of my seniors from my college is JR, he's a JR Freight CEO, and he told me once that at the end of the day, how the signaling and the whole operation work on these tracks is that probably just by 1 minute difference, because normally when we see in our Indian Railways, I got a speed certificate from Indian Railways because if my train is operating at 40 km per hour and suppose a Shatabdi is coming at 60 km per hour, that faster asset has to be given priority because the slower one is in front, it has to be brought to the side. But when it is brought to the side, it is brought to the side for 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, maybe 6 hours. For Shinkansen, it is 1 minute. In 1 minute, the slower of the Shinkansen is given a divert, and the faster one moves on, and the slower one again comes back to the track. And that is the efficiency. In years, it does not get delayed. The time, if it is 6:57 in the evening, it will reach at 6:57 in the evening. And when we are tracking our assets, it never happens that way. Never, ever. So the issue is, when we are doing integration, so why I am highlighting this thing is, when it doesn't happen, when that asset is not utilized properly, we are not able to capture the time when we are going to reach. So multimodal transportation is actually not happening, because if the train is getting delayed, how will you plan for the trucks at the last mile connectivity? If the coastal shipping is not reaching at the right time, how will you integrate all the assets at one point of time, my cars at the, for example, coast, and ensure that required number of trucks, drivers, and the people are available at the destination point and would pick and go and actually execute what is required to be executed. It cannot be done. And that is leading to a lot of inefficiency into the system. And when we talk about it, Indian Railways would say, probably you talk with somebody from truck industry. If we talk with, for example, direct freight corridor, just discount me, just an example, sir, we have not talked with DFC actually. So probably they will say that, you talk with Indian Railways, that is not outside our paradigm. And from coastal person will say so who can integrate all the multimodal transportation together? If that is not done, none of us, I'm telling you, none of us, not you, none of us would be able to succeed. We will need to integrate all the things together. Railways would have to ensure that we need to reach on time. Waterways will have to ensure, because their competitive skill is speed. Waterways will have to ensure that you are able to give the cost that is, your strength. And the road transportation people would have to ensure that they handle the first mile and the last mile. So end of the day, when I share this thought process with some people, they say it will never happen. Just, I will share one small example here, and that is in terms of, taxis. And at one point of time, whenever we were hiring taxis, it was garage to garage. All payments were garage to garage, except for these black ones which got obsolete in some states. Normally, if you hire a taxi, it is garage to garage. If you pick up even from this hotel to go somewhere in the night today or maybe tomorrow, you will have to go for garage to garage. You come back here, you will have to pay the round trip fare. And today in the transportation area, again all of us are paying a complete round trip, even if you are not using the round trip. Somebody has come up, for example in taxi area, who has gone ahead with point to point, and they are earning profit. They are earning profit. Ola, Meru, Uber, they are earning profit because they are able to integrate. And today, I can challenge, if I ask any of the person who is operating any of the modes, be it, a truck or rail or anybody else, you ask them, you do a point to point, they will say it would not be viable. It will not be viable. But I'm telling you, in 2 years from today, mark my words, in 2 years from today, somebody would come up and do it. And point to point truck transportation, point to point railway transportation, point to point coastal transportation would become a reality in multimodal transportation. So if somebody tends to believe that we will keep doing what we have been doing all along, it will not happen. And there is a reason for that. I've been doing this work with Cambridge University and certain university in the United States and Hitotsubashi and Waseda University, and this study is going on. I will just share the background first. You remember, today, my time is up, so I will just sum up in 1 minute. In today's scenario, when I was a college student, I wanted to have a education loan. I went to few people who had contacts in banking area. They knew few managers, and I went begging. Please give me loan. Please give me loan. Please give me loan at the lower interest. Because we did not have the concept. Today you don't have to beg. What is your CRISIL rating today? If you have a good credit rating, you don't have to beg. You have a high credit rating. You pay your credit card bills on time. You pay your loans on time. You have a high credit rating. Go to a bank and get the rate which he cannot offer to anybody else. Because your credit rating is high. And people in the industry who believe that this concept will not come to logistics industry are mistaken. It will come here also. So a study is going on where more than 10 universities are collaborating all across the world. There are people who know of the caliber of, for example, Mark Webber, and there are few Indians, and there are scores of people all across the world who are contributing into this. Sir Mike Gregory, the Dean of Cambridge University, and Hirotaka Takuchi at Harvard. And they are contributing to this, and what they are doing is that in the complete value chain, there will be a rating mechanism, just like the CRISIL rating. So there will be an individual rating. So if I am, say, XYZ person, a company who is operating a trucker, there will be rating available for you. So I am not going to haggle with you. on negotiation spending 3 hours with you, what should be the rate? If your rating is high, you will get, your risk is very low, you will get good business, higher business, everybody will call you, and you will get better rates. If your rating, it's not credit rating actually, if your transport rating, if your logistics rating is high within the value chain, nobody will call you. As simple as that. And it is going to come very, very soon. Very, very soon. And it will change the dynamics. It will ensure that even in the transportation area, there will be a point-to-point movement. It will ensure that the negotiation would not be 3-hour exercises. Be it Indian Railways, when we talk with Indian Railways, they say we cannot do anything. It will be passed by Parliament of India. But they will also be rated. And then they will also be, they will also be part of this thing. It will, and not only Indian Railways, they will rate all the railways across the world. They will rate all the big transporters across the world, all the coastal shipping people, all the inland water people, and there will be rating available for individual companies. And it will be available for everybody, just like CIBIL CRISIL rating. Even I can get it, you can also get it too. You pay 500 rupees and you get your rating, and go to a bank manager and tell him that my rating is very good, I would take at PLR plus 3% only. What are you talking about? 12% rate. I will not pay 12% because my credit rating is this. You will have to give. And he cannot say no because your risk is very low. Interest rate is directly proportional to the risk appetite. So end of the day, it will happen to each one of us. And there will be a rating for the OEMs also. So I kept talking about you only. There will be a rating for the OEMs also, whether we are paying you on time, whether we keep you waiting, asking you to come after 30 days to collect the check, whether we have an RTGS system, whoever is doing it will be out of business. So at the end of the day, real things are about to come, and it will completely change the way logistics industry is going to come. So people who say that there will not be any point-to-point, no rating, are mistaken. Next 2 years will completely change the dynamics of logistics industry. With that, I would like to point out that change is about to come. Nobody can stop it. None of you, neither me, nobody else. And there comes the lies, the secret lies in continuous change. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation, challenging everybody in the room. So that's something sure for discussion at the end of this session when we have our Q&A, and probably during the dinner tonight and the whole of the conference tomorrow. So very interesting to hear what it will be like in a couple of years' time, and we look forward to Shailendra's presentation at Automotive Logistics India 2017. When we share the reality of that vision. That will be good. The only thing we know that will for certain be always necessary, however high you rate the transportation and whatever modes you use and however much you compete, you still need to come to our conference to talk about it. So that's the important part. Next up to here, a great challenge. I'm not sure I would be the one who wants to follow up from that presentation. A logistics service provider's view. So I'd like to welcome to the podium Sumit Kumar, the VP and North India Head for TCI Supply Chain Solutions. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So to start with my presentation, it is basically complete Indian perspective. I will be covering only domestic part of it. And before starting my presentation, I will just brief upon the background of TCI. So TCI is in top 10 automotive companies. TCI is the largest service provider in top 7 companies. So you can understand the exposure. And our association is from OBL Logistics, IBL, warranty parts, spare parts movement, warehousing services. So it is into end-to-end supply chain. We own 1100 car carrier trucks, which carries car carriers as well as two-wheelers. And apart from it, we have got almost around 2,000 vendor associates who provide trucks to us on need basis. Then also we have got 10 million square feet of warehousing space. on which almost 35% to 40% is owned by TCI. We have got a deep penetration into India. We have got 1,400 own TCI branches. It is not franchisee. Coming to the coastal shipping, TCI is into this business since last almost around 20 years now. We own 6 vessels currently, which operates in western coast as well as eastern coast, covering Mundra to Cochin, from Visakhapatnam, Chennai to Port Blair. We also have got a joint venture between Concor and TCI. So you know, Concor has got undoubtedly the leading exposure into railway part, and their reach is into 61 ICDs and container freight terminals. And the first leg and final leg is being done by us. So it is completely end-to-end, multimodal kind of association, and we are complementing each other. In terms of volume, we move 2.5% of India's GDP by value, and TCI network covers almost around 99% of India's GDP. So now I will be covering about the infrastructure updates. So in infrastructure, first comes the road network, where the Modi government is also taking a lot of care into it. Almost 45,000 kilometer highway is under planning, and it will be completed in coming 2 to 3 years now. Every day they are targeting almost around 30 kilometers. The total cost of this highway project is almost around 1 lakh crore rupees. So it is a very big project. Then it comes to electronic toll system, which is already implemented in Delhi-Mumbai corridor currently. So it will give speed and unnecessary the stoppages on the toll and RTOs. These things will go away gradually. Then intelligent traffic system. Recently, the pilot run has been done in Patna. So this is also in the planning. Then it comes to the border roads, which we call Bharatmala, which covers from Gujarat to Punjab to Himachal to Jammu Kashmir, then to UP, and going till Mizoram. So it is a very big project. Cost of this project is 14,000 crore rupees. So this will again a game changer into the Indian infrastructure in road segment. Sorry. Now DFC, Mr. Gujarati has already detailed upon it, so I will not say anything on this because his presentation was very good and we got a flavor of it. The main thing is that current goods train speed is almost around 25 to 26 kilometers per hour, which will go up to 100 kilometers per hour. And this will be completed in a phased manner by 2017, between 2017 and 2019. So we are waiting for that. Then the next is what we call the golden banana. So this again is a very ambitious project, which was started in 2006, which will be connecting 7 smart cities. The other part to it is the Sagarmala project. The Sagarmala project is Indian coastal exposure. It is one of the best. It covers almost around 7,500 kilometers, out of which 7,000 kilometers is being covered through this Sagarmala project. And then coming to the Indian inland waterways. Currently, the total volume moved by the inland waterways is merely 0.1%. Whereas in other countries, even in Bangladesh, it is 30%. In US, it is 21%. So we are missing this leg actually. And this is currently in a very small exposure from Ganga to Bhagirathi to Hooghly, this stretch, and very limited exposure. Now, there are different inland waterways corridor are coming, where the total coverage will be around 4,500 kilometer out of available strength of inland waterways is 14,500 kilometers. So out of that 4,500 kilometer is already been planned by the Modi government. And one more point I want to cover here is the ports actually. Indian ports are lacking nowadays, currently. There are 12 major ports and 87 minor ports which are available. The draft of these ports are limited. It is not more than 9 meters. Whereas to vessel 12,000 or 14,000 TEUs capacity vessels, we need at least 13 meters draft. The first phase is being implemented in JNPT, and that is going on. And in phase 2, they will be taking it to 16 meters draft. Now coming to GST. Currently, to finalize a location of a plant or warehouse, the main consideration factor is taxation. But post GST, there will be 5 factors which will be affecting the planning of the plant or the warehouse or the distribution centers, which will be proximity to customers, either be closer to your customer or be nearer to your suppliers or the raw material. So this will be the major game changer. Consolidation will happen of all the warehouses which are propped up in all the 31 states just to save CST. So this will be a game changer post GST. This is wheel of GST impact. The business model is network optimization. GST is not far away from us, so we need to have detailed working been done in network optimization, warehouse planning, and complete restructuring our supply chain. In IT, there will be too much changes. SAP is already working on it very closely. So because it will be a consumption-based taxation. So in that case, what will happen? One needs to prove that where the consumptions are. So maybe for a transport company, like in UP or MP, there is a Bhati system, which means you need to prove that these goods are not consumed in that particular state. So maybe that will be a challenge how to serve that. Contract agreements, we need to validate how in GST, post-GST scenario, how to validate those things. Tax impacts. In today's ET also there was a news on barter system or exchange, like how we do in automobile, exchange your car. So currently that is not taxable, but post GST it will be taxable. So we need to be prepared for that. Then compliances, it will be very strict. Currently we are producing bills of taxation. Post GST we need to upload our bills into the site, and government officials will check from that site that whether that, so the entire the bad practices will go away. Then government, what we feel that government is taking care of all the points in GST. So as a team we need to also put our points there, because there may be some surprises once it is through. I am sharing 2 case studies, what we did in TCI. One is multimodal CVO logistics, what we are doing for one of the 2-wheeler company and one of the 4-wheeler company. So this is entire end-to-end. For OEMs, it is truck coming in. For the dealers, the truck going as a delivery. Intermediary, there is a road leg which goes to a container, the railway yard. From there, it moves into rail, and final leg again is through trucks. And we own certain yards also, which is very near to the destination railway point. Here, the challenges what we are facing is railway coordination. We don't get any commitment of certain placement, so we need to keep faith on them, but really it is a challenge. Then securing and lashing. of the wheels or the two-wheelers, it is quite cumbersome. In pictures, you can see that how it is being done currently. Rail haulage cost. The railways, we don't know how the road freight is going down. At the same time, railway freight is going up. So we don't understand what is the calculation behind that. And then condition of stocks. There are certain wagons you will find there are a lot of damages, which is very actually difficult to load any car or bike. This is second case study where production logistics, where the first leg of milk run is being done by smaller trucks, gets consolidated at a cross dock. After that, it goes to the ICDs, and after train, the last mile again through the trucks. Here the challenges are timelines. So in production logistics, one cannot take any chance with the inventories. Vanning and handling, again it is a very concern. Routing, sometimes we find that, okay, the train was supposed to move into this route, went off into certain other routes, and there are different zones in railways, and different zones treat the stocks differently. And goods train, you know, that has got the lowest priority in the hierarchy. Rail haulage cost, again, this cost has gone up by 30% last year. So it is challenge. How production logistics works currently, we have made a diagram to it, and with IT integration. The planning from the OEMs, the planning for pickup is given to the suppliers considering the transit time plus quality checking time, and the same schedule comes to our key account manager, normally who sits into the plant, and the same gets uploaded through our software into different cross docks. If supplier is for North India, then it will come to North cross dock. If it is for South India, South cross dock, and based on those schedules, the cross dock team plans the milk run movement. And post milk run movement, once this comes to our warehouse, then we create a barcode to that, because you know the suppliers are quite different. In car, it is okay, but in tractors, you can see that there are suppliers still giving the goods in gunny bags. There are suppliers. So to identify, because a lot of OEMs has got multiple plants, to identify those material, this needs to be idiot proof actually. So we do a barcoding, and once the barcoding is being done, the same gets uploaded directly into the site, and from there supplier can access their inventory into the pipeline, the OEMs can access the entire supply chain, and then the same gets consolidated, and as per Vanning report, the same moves to the OEM plant. So entire integration from supplier till the OEM is seamless, cost is optimized, vanning is taken care of, so that the damages and everything is taken care of, and entire information is available into the system. Now, in conclusion, I am just sharing one table for your thought. The GDP of India from 1951 to 1415, it grew at a pace of 7%, CAGR 7%. Transporter did well. They were better than the GDP growth. They did 9.1% growth CAGR, whereas the road length is a big concern, because that cannot take much load. The growth was very slow, and that is the reason why we see a high need of going into multimodal or hub spoke system. And we need to exploit our other resources like railways, like ports, inland waterways, these things. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much for sharing some case studies with us, some practical things that you've been doing with your customers and developing multimodal logistics inbound and outbound there. So thank you. Now for the Q&A. I would ask, firstly, Mr. Gujarat from the dedicated freight corridor has to leave in about 2 or 3 minutes. So if there are any questions specifically for Mr. Gujarat, if we can ask those first to have this opportunity to ask him the question. So, I mean, I've got a question myself, but I'd rather give you the opportunity to ask a question if anybody has anything specifically. In the middle there, please.
My name is Soni, and I need to ask only one question because you have shown that we are making the corridor for the train, right? Is there any plan to link this Loni to PPG? Yeah, basically, if you go for the LCL shipments, you offload all containers in Loni and then use the road transport to PPG, Patparganj ICD, where your time, Nhava Sheva to Loni is 3 days or 4 days, and then Loni to PPG is more than a week.
As I mentioned, like we are going to create an express highway. It won't be possible to connect each and every ICD. Loni will get connected through feeder route to the DFC network. I don't know what percentage of LCL cargo is going to the Loni at present, because some of the cargo, what I remember, it has been shifted to other ICDs like Dadri and other location it has gone away. But definitely feeder route strengthening will help in reducing the transit time considerably. Process. We won't be able to connect each and every ICD in northern India. That's not possible.
So, any plan?
So can we wait for the microphone, please? Sorry, Loni.
Okay, sorry. So we maybe there should be a plan to move that ICD to somewhere other location where you can offload direct trains.
See, Loni is basically a private ICD. It's not being operated by the railways. Now, most of the ICD, they are being operated by the Concor or a private entity. Indian Railway doesn't operate, and DFC also will not go into the ICD business. We have opened up the sector. People can come and get connected on the network, and they can start doing the ICD business. Basically, it will be left to the third-party logistic player who will come and go for the container business.
So I have another question for that. If we are not we can't do there anything, so we will increase our size of ICD in Gadi Arsaru?
Is again, Gadi is a private ICD. It's not by us. Now, just to reply your question, there are other alternatives, the other ICDs, which are connected to the DFCC directly. And I don't say Loni will not get the benefit of DFC. It's a small patch, maybe about 100 odd kilometer, and thereafter it will move down the DFC. It will be the feeder route which is going to play a very, very dominant role here. And these all feeder route will be upgraded and updated before we commission the DFC by 2018-19. That's the concept. It is something like an expressway and connect the arteries road. These artery roads is being updated by the Indian Railway, and they will update it.
Hi, myself Jaipal. So I just want to ask right now, if I see it from the supplier's perspective, so rail movement is a premium freight. It is considered as a premium freight. No supplier is want to opt the rail movement over the road movement because of the high cost. So by going with this dedicated freight corridor, would there be any impact on the cost side also?
See, when I talk about the cost, it's not only the transportation cost which we take into consideration. We should always talk about the transport logistic cost, which includes the inventory, uncertainty, and definitely the transport cost. When the DFC comes into the picture, because of the volumetric capacity, speed, and granted transit time and scheduling of the train. These all inventory factor and warehousing factor that will come down. Second development which is taking place in the DFC corridor is people are setting up the multimodal logistic park. And once you go for the multimodal logistic park, what Mr. Singh was asking about, who will take care of the first mile and last mile connectivity? Normally, this work has to be done by the third-party logistics service provider. It cannot be done either by the inland water transport or railways because the entities are very different. Their nature of the job is completely different. Concur, a public sector, was created to take care of the first mile, last mile connectivity, take care of the less than train load cargo. Similarly, other entity will come into the picture. And once you set up the logistic park, your cost will come down further because your double handling, movement of the cargo from the rail's head, taking to the warehouse, then again moving into the actual work site, that will start coming down. So what I'm looking at, one is the volumetric capacity, then inherent advantage, what we are going to bring into in form of the speed. And third thing is my transit time. Coupled with logistics center, which will come up at the railhead, they will bring down the logistic cost significantly. And the GST is going to play a very, very dominant role. Once GST rules in, a lot of tax cascading effect of the tax will go away, and which is going to encourage hub and spoke movement in a big way. And as soon as the hub and spoke movement starts coming into the picture, our role and a DFC role will become very, very prominent. What we are looking at, we know what we are going to create is the huge capacity of transportation. And I keep on saying, I'm moving out from the seller market to the buyer market. Today, Indian Railway is in the seller market. Once you create this capacity, you are switching over to the buyer market. Once you go on the buyer market, you need to compete with the other mode of transport, whether it's a road, whether it's a rail, waterways, or a coastal shipping. Definitely, the effort will be to bring down total logistic cost process, which will ultimately pass on to the customer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gujarat. I think to honour our commitment to you is your time. You have to go, so we're not finishing the session, and we still have some questions for the remaining panelists. But unfortunately, Mr. Gujarat has to go now. So
I'm sorry for leaving because I got another commitment to work for. Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Thanks. Thank you, sir. We'll meet up.
But I'm sure the other panelists have also engendered some questions from the audience as well. So if you've got any questions for Maruti Suzuki or for TCI based on their presentations, then please, again, now's the time if you've got any questions or comments you want to make on their presentations.
Hello. Yeah, I am Amit Bhardwaj. I am from Niti Aayog, Government of India. All the issues that I have heard during this session, I have been working on all these issues from the last 3-4 years. Although work at Planning Commission level is always back-end work of the government, but we are working very closely on all these issues. From overall transportation side, there is a integrated transportation grid on which we are working. There are, from waterways side, there is already a bill pending pending for the cabinet's approval, which is going to nominate around 106 rivers in India as national waterways. As of now, we have only 5. So overall, the integrated transport movement, transport network movement has already started from the government side. So whatever the issues, definitely standardization is an issue. In 2008, Planning Commission has came up with a total transportation study, which is being conducted by Rights for Planning Commission. And recently, we have came up with National Transport Report 2032. It's a vision towards 2032. And we are working towards that vision so that all this integration should happen before time. Of course, this dedicated freight corridor, waterways, all these are part of that integrated approach. So definitely the 2 years would be quite ambitious, but I would say around 5 to 6 years down the line, we would see something happening on ground. Definitely it will take time because everything goes to Parliament, so things will take a little bit time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Badwa, just to clarify for those watching from around the world, can you just explain a little bit NITI? Because others might not know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, erstwhile, this body is being called as Planning Commission, which is being conceptualized at the time of independence by our first Prime Minister. But recently, it has been abolished, and a new body with the NITI has the full form of National Institution for Transforming India. And this has been given a mandate of a think tank which is working to transforming all the processes on which government is involved. Basically regulations, like I'm working on the smart automotive side also, in which we need a lot of standardizations. That standardization part is very much missing, because it basically talks of, NITI is basically talking about various transforming processes, like ease of doing business is part of it. It's a broad word, but in the nitty-gritties we have seen in the inland container depots and all those things. From 30 days, in a lot of places, the clearance time has been reduced to 7 days. So there are so many issues we are hitting, and at the overall policy paradigm, we are trying to pace up the things so that the overall output of the industry should achieve. Even in the inland waterways, just in the morning I could not attend because I was attending a meeting on the multimodal terminal at Varanasi, so for inland waterways. So it would basically cater to the railways. Similarly on Ganges, we are going to have 3 main multimodal terminals. With the help of World Bank, we are working on it. So like one is Varanasi, one is Sahibganj, one is Haldia. So these 3 multimodal terminals will work with other two modes of transport also. So this way, things are quite paced up. And what I would say, in the 1 or 2 year horizon, we would see something happening. Like Mr. Sharan has also said, they have moved cars. Already coal transportation is happening on the Ganges from Farakka to the Farakka plant from Haldia. So these kind of fertilizer movements is also the pilot runs for fertilizer runs already happened. And there are so many other expressions of interest from private industries has came. They want to ply on waterways. So things will pace up. From 2018-19, we would have some good movements on Ganges. That would means all the terminals would be ready by that time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's what I knew how important NITI was, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew the role that you played. But that brings me on to my first question, really, and I guess initially to Mr. Singh from Maruti, is we talked about driving multimodal logistics, but who will really drive it? Maruti Suzuki are quite good at, you have the majority of the market, and you take on, in many cases, the responsibility that comes with it to try and drive change. So often in logistics, we say the car makers are the leaders, he who pays the ferryman and so on. Is it the logistics companies, because they often have a multimodal outlook, are they the ones who should be providing you with multimodal solutions? Or should it be NITI, who will drive the move to multimodal logistics?
I think it would be a collaborative move.
Yeah.
From organization perspective, definitely Maruti has been a pioneer in doing what is required to be done for automotive area, be it Indian Railways arena, where we were the first to get a AFTO and go ahead with a transportation by which we have almost handled around, we are expected to handle around 100,000 units this year, just by railways itself. And this has been a way forward. In fact, we were the first one to go ahead with the inland waterways also, and we are in touch with them for further trials. So if you look at the drive, definitely the drive will come from the customers, no doubt about it. However, if you look at the processes, the policies, and various integration efforts from various departments, other people, definitely Government of India would also need to pitch in at various points. And a lot of activities are happening in that area. In fact, now if I look at a few years back and now, when we interact with officials from Indian Railways, they are really pushing things across. For example, you would be, people will be amazed that the team is sitting here who are actually operating it, and they would vouch for it that every day they receive calls from people who are actually operating the concerned rakes from the Indian Railways, and the operations at, for example, at New Delhi or at the Gurgaon station, other places, even at the maintenance area, and they are tracking hour to hour. So I think a lot of improvements have happened there also, and government bodies are also pushing things across. But in principle, I would say it is going to be a collaborative move. People sitting in this room are actually going to drive it across together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Question over there.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Kishore Sonekar from Redel. I want to know that are automobile companies having a treat about with the new concept is coming as Ola, Uber. So why to own a car? So why it is required? I don't feel that I should own a car. Any car I want in 2 minutes it comes. Though if I take my vehicle from my garage or parking, it takes more time. So what automobile industries are thinking on this? Anything you know about this?
Okay, so this is outside the logistics area, so I'm not supposed to answer this. We will not spill the beans so early.
Far corner. Oh, yeah.
This question is for Mr. Shailen Singh. It's on?
Yes.
Yeah, Maruti has been running this special, train from Gurgaon, from here to Bangalore, Nagpur, all those kind of a thing. And what is that you bring back? The reason why I'm asking this question is, plenty of people in the industry whom I am talking to say that it's a national waste. For a strategic marketing reasons, you don't carry any of your rivals' vehicles in the reverse direction. Okay? And in a way, I'm sure that my friend Umesh Barnett will be quite happy that you're not doing it, so he's able to do some much better business. Why is that? Because it's been said that it's a national waste. Please.
Okay, I think we receive these questions off and on, and let me first clarify, it is not a national waste. The reason are two. One, what type of efficiency and productivity we are getting out of an asset is very important. So even though we are in talk with certain other automobile majors by which a collaborative move can happen anytime or may not happen. However, if an asset is going from a place A to place B, and then if it remains idle for say 3 days, 4 days, and then comes back. So that load planning and that load matching with another maker or anybody else is something which needs to be improved upon even today. So I think, I would not say we know the game completely. We are a car maker. We are not a logistics expert as on date, but probably that level of consolidation, that level of integration, what can be expected out of a 3PL or somebody, we haven't got a smart 3PL person who would be really able to integrate with the level of efficiency that we want. We want our assets to come back as fast as possible so that we can, because if you look at the industry, 50% is being made by us. 50% all across the country. So if you look at the basic, logistics operation or any operation management planning, if you have 7 people scattered all across, consolidating one from, for example, from Bangalore or South back to us is difficult for them because they are unable to consolidate at the rate we want. So then that requires actually the assets to be kept idle, which is a higher national waste as compared to, bringing it back. So it all depends how we are actually integrating it across. Somebody pointed out related to cost here. Even after doing that, because we are operating at an efficiency which matches our requirement as of now, we are able to get a cost advantage even by Indian Railways, even today, as compared to road, even though the diesel rates have gone down substantially, which would be very difficult for anybody else to match. So even though the diesel rates are at rock bottom today, we are able to get a cost advantage by Indian Railways. So, and that is primarily because of the productivity. So we don't want to hamper our productivity as of now. However, who knows that what I'm saying is even I or anybody else would not be able to, stop the change in the time to come. If really that level of productivity, that level of integration can happen, who knows, things can happen tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, well, I think we've got plenty to think about from the presentations today. So I'd like to thank, we're just going to do a voting survey now. So you will be using our kind of live system. This is, you can see on the screen there, how you get onto our voting survey. We'll be asking you 6 questions, general questions about the automotive logistics industry in India. So we'd really like you to participate in the voting, because I also think that you will also get value from the answers. If everybody participates, the answers will be very interesting. That's some more information on how you can get onto the voting. While we're preparing the things, again, just a reminder about the evaluation forms. If you're leaving today, then please complete the evaluation forms and leave them at the front desk or leave them on the table and we'll collect them. The evaluation forms are very, very important to us. And a reminder that straight after this session, we'll be going for a drinks reception and then a dinner on the sky deck within the hotel. So you'll be guided to where the sky deck is. So I think we're ready to do the questions. So question 1. So this is a question that comes from our global sponsor from CTM Law. Which of the following statements is the most accurate? Is it the automotive logistics sector in India is fine the way it is? Upgraded infrastructure will solve India's principal automotive logistics problems? Upcoming changes to the current road trailers legislation will solve India's principal automotive logistics problems? A combination of infrastructure improvement and enhanced logistics methodology will provide optimal results for India? Or none of these describes India's principal automotive logistics challenges? So you can probably read those better than I read them. But if you can start voting now, you've got about 10 seconds. So the top answer by quite a while, 67%, is a combination of infrastructure improvement and enhanced logistics methodology will provide optimal results for India. So I guess that's not the biggest surprise, but that's the large percentage of our audience. So the next question. Next question comes from UTI. The biggest enabler for achieving the automotive industry goals of 2020 vision is multimodal, that we've just been talking about, physical infrastructure, IT infrastructure, auto component manufacturing R&D, or skills. So what would be the biggest enabler for achieving the industry success for India's vision? Vote now, please. I've just had a message through for you on live, well, you probably can't hear me, on live streaming that you can't hear me, but you can see what's happening. So firstly, for the voting survey, the most important thing that you can see it. And secondly, from my perspective, as long as you can see me, that's one of my biggest assets, is my good looks. And the answer to this question, again, the biggest answer is the biggest enabler for achieving automotive industry goals is multimodal. So again, this session highlights how important multimodal is and everybody working together. That was 43, just under half of the votes. The next question. Next question comes from TCI. Which is most important for a supply chain which can adapt to volume changes or unplanned new orders, which gives you the flexibility? So is it reliability? Is it responsiveness? Is it flexibility? Is it cost? Or is it asset management that's important? So again, please vote now. So flexibility, I guess that's an important strength there if you're doing operating logistics in such a volatile region as India. So flexibility is one of the most important supply chain strengths. Next question. Next question comes from, again, a global sponsor, CHEP. How much does packaging, excluding the shipment cost, contribute to your overall component cost? So you can't see the whole question on the screen, but how much does packaging, specifically, excluding the shipment cost, contribute to your overall component cost? Is it 0.5 to 1%? Is it 1 to 2%? 2 to 5%? 5 to 10% or more? So do you know how much value or how much cost packaging adds? So vote now, please. So for those on the live stream, again, I've heard that the audio is now working more clearly, so not only can you see my good looks, but you can hear my jokes as well. So that's good news for those watching us on the live stream. Okay, so a tie this time on how much cost is added. 1 to 2% and 2 to 5% is what is believed in the audience. Packaging adds to your overall component cost. I guess perhaps for the real answer you need to go, or the correct answer, you need to go to the CHEP stand to find out what they think as well. So the next question comes from, again, a global sponsor, Wallenius Wilhelmsen Logistics. When you're choosing a 3PL partner for outbound logistics, which comes first? Is it financial solvency? Is it reliability in delivery every time? Is it the breadth of the solution, trucking, coastal, rail, large, small movements? Is it cost? Is it risk partnership and the willingness to take part of the outbound logistics risk? So vote now, please. So reliability in delivery every time and the breadth of the solution, again, are the tied answers. I think risk partnership also had a high score. I think we're kind of all relieved that cost, wasn't the top answer, which is, what sometimes is perceived to be the answer. But cost got no votes at all. So, and the next and I think final question comes from APL Logistics Vasco. Automotive accounts for 45% of India's logistics. Its transport must change to meet the target of a 30% cut in carbon emissions by 2030. How will the industry react? Will it be positively with a gradual but significant shift? Will it be moderately with a gradual shift? Will it be not significantly, or will it be not at all in the immediate future? So how will transportation change to reduce carbon emissions? If you can vote now, please. So positively, so there will be a move towards reducing carbon emissions. Transportation, obviously, not only the vehicles themselves, but transportation as an industry, the logistics industry is obviously a huge, what's the word? Adds, unfortunately, is something that's got a lot of carbon emissions. So it's a tough target, but there will be a positive attitude to reducing it with a gradual but significant shift, which is good to hear. I think that's the final question. So I hope you've enjoyed the first day. I think we've heard, forecasts. We've heard a commitment to transportation and logistics infrastructure and the needs where they need to be. We've looked at multimodal solutions, including looking at improvements on the port side and trying to improve the coastal or the ocean side of things, ocean and short sea, hearing from shipping companies, also from commitment from or desire from NITI there as well. We've looked at production and inbound logistics, looking at how to become more, how to solve some of the complex supply chain issues. And we've got a great day tomorrow looking at, India 4.0, looking at the smart factories of the future, the automotive logistics think tanks, which may not sound... I think India's been one of the successes on the think tanks. I think you've understood them in the past and participated quite strongly, so don't miss that in the afternoon. Also in the morning, we've got a finished vehicle logistics focus, obviously one of the big challenges in India. And don't plan on leaving early, because we've got the famous big debate, which is led by Prem Verma, who likes to challenge the audience and the car makers with some tough questioning. So I think we've got a great day lined up for tomorrow, so make sure you're all around for that. But for now, if you'd like to join us for some cocktails and some drinks, and then join us for a dinner on the Sky Deck upstairs. But thank you very much for your participation today. Thank you.